Yeah.
We are Eric and Jennifer Johnson. Our firm is Utah Family Law in Utah, Salt Lake City. I imagine an excuse that some people, some lawyers might offer for not doing a policies and procedures workshop would be, well, the people I work with are smart enough, they don't need policies and procedures, or we already know what our policies and procedures are at the office, even though they're not written down. And the fact of the matter is that that is not the purpose of policies and procedures. Having them written down isn't the goal. Having them written down gives you benefits that you may not even see. So if you're saying that you don't want to do this because you don't see the purpose of policies and procedures, it's because you're already fighting this battle with one hand tied behind your back and don't even know it. So if that were true, give policies and procedures a chance. At the very worst, it's going to show you that you were right all along, but I'll believe that when I see it.
I would totally agree. I think it also gives clarity, and there's not confusion as to what needs to be done and how it's to be done. I would say, for me, I'm not the attorney, but I am kind of the CFO bookkeeper person. It's actually kind of an overwhelming idea of coming up with all the policies and procedures because it's so detail-oriented. But at the same time, taking the time to do that, I've noticed a sense of calm because I know that I've got something to start from and I can build on it, and it can constantly change and do what I need it to do. So that is incredibly helpful. The best part of this policy and procedures workshop has been, aside from the food, is a starting point, an idea of why they're important, how to envision, how to take the vision that we have for this law firm that's up here and we're here, but how do we get it to do this? And being clear with our expectations, not giving our employees the instructions that they need so they don't feel like they have to learn how to read our minds about what we want and how things are supposed to be done, and putting them in a difficult position where they don't know how to act because we haven't been clear with them how to do that. And also Eric knows who's in charge of what. He doesn't have to constantly manage his office. The office can have the opportunity to manage themselves.
Rjon sent out an email inviting us to the Policies and Procedures workshop and said, why don't you try doing this yourself, or how far do you think you'd get if you did this yourself? So I tried it. Not because I wanted to defy Rjon, but because I thought, well, that's a good question. I wonder how hard it would be. And so I went out and I got the ABA's Policies and Procedures manual, and it's a very detailed manual, and sat down on a Saturday and got about a third of the way through the book, and I've never finished it because it was just not what I wanted. That book doesn't really deal with things that my practice needs. It would have given me a list of policies and procedures, but they wouldn't have been mine. The difference here is that all the other lawyers working together, we can all discuss the problems. Since we're all small firm lawyers, we all have very, very similar, if not exact, problems the same, so we can talk about them the same. We just get the power of having all those minds all thinking about the same things, thinking differently, and yet we all can more or less come to a conclusion that suits us all with all those ideas from everybody else. I think the way we looked at it is that to get this kind of brain power together and do this for myself, I'd have to pay $50,000 to $75,000 for that kind of consultation. I'm glad I didn't let anything stop me from being here, because having policies and procedures will mean that I don't have to worry about turnover, because rather than having to rely on somebody and that person gets complacent, that person gets surly, that person who does important jobs but is not working out is someone I can then fire and replace, and rather than having to train somebody and wait on them to get up to speed, I can show them saying, I have extremely detailed policies and procedures that may go on for pages just about how to answer the phone and take messages. Now that may seem kind of silly. You may think, well, anybody with any intelligence should be able to figure that out. Well, but if they're not that intelligent, or even if they are and just are fishes out of water in a new setting, they can read through this. I can quiz them on it before I hire them, make sure they understand it, see that they can do it, and then if I'm not in the office, they know how to pick up the phone, they know how to use the particular machinery, they know how to talk to people, they know what the script is, they know what information I need, and I can hire people and I can rely on them without even being in the office, and I can turn around and replace an employee that much faster. I stay on track without having to worry about relying on certain people because my policies and procedures are what governs.
And the procedures and the policies are created deliberately for our office. So we know we have deliberately chosen to do it a certain way, and there's a reason behind it, but it's given us an opportunity to really reflect about why this is important, how should we do it, and also the option of, okay, so this will be our starting point. How do we want to make this look in the future? So this is our beginning. This is A, but hopefully we can refine it so that we have a really good one. And it might be Plan E. I have no idea, but it helps us to really think about and be really specific about who's doing things, why that person is doing that thing, and why that thing is important to do in the first place.